Okay, let's dive straight into the subject about caring. Because it's not only about corporates that can care, it's also about humans. Indeed, I have written a book, it's called Does Your Brand Care? Building a Better World with the Care Principles. And some of you might hear I'm Belgian. I've working in brand strategy most of my life in Belgium, in France, and in the Netherlands. But I'm not really here to talk about my book. I would like first to take a second and think the times that we are going through. The times that we are going through are very specific. A lot of things that we go through now, we have never witnessed before. And so it's clear that we are going through a change of era. And in this change of era, we need to be open to try out new things. And so I'm very excited to be in front of you because you're a generation who's all about digital and about trying new things, right? But one of the things that I would urge you is to stop lying. Because let's face it, and I worked in advertising, I worked in communication for a big part of my life, and let's face it, the 3 Ps that we all talk about, there's a lot of blah, 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 right? A lot of blah, 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 and with most companies, it's still profit that is ruling. And profit is ruling at the cost of people and at the cost of the planet. And so I would like you to help me to find a new, balanced planet, people, profit business model. Because of course, we all need to grow. Companies need to grow, your brands, your agencies, we all need to take new steps. And we need money for that. But we can't do it any longer on the back of people and of the planet. But I would urge you also to not only think about climate change, but to really be open for system change. And system change means that we really need to think and look for different models and really think about how we can completely change our business strategies. But before we do that, there's a second thing that I would like you to think about, is the era that we are in. I told you we are in a change of era, that's definitely true, but today we are stuck in the in-betweenness. And the in-betweenness means that we are partly in the old world, and we are going through the new world, but for a lot of people, this new world is really unreal. We saw this afternoon, we heard about the metaverse, we heard about 1 billion new creative users coming from India, and a lot of people are scared with all of that. What is that? And very often artists, they understand that. And already back in 2015, Banksy, you probably heard about this artist, Banksy made this artwork. It was in Disneyland. And what you see on the left, it's the Prime Minister, used to be the Prime Minister of the UK, Cameron, and he represents the establishment, right? The conservative powers, whining and dining like nothing is happening, because they have the power, and they will do anything to keep the power, anything, even war. That's what we see today. But what you also see on this picture is that there's a young kid there. And this young kid, he's pushing out the establishment. He's really saying no more of this old world. Rules are changing, the world is changing, we need something else. But what you can also see is behind the young kid, there's a big void. There's nothing. The new world that is coming is happening a lot behind closed doors. A lot of Web3, metaverse, a lot of these things that are happening, average people, they have no clue. So we feel today that we live in a polarized society. And in this polarized society, everybody seems to hold on to what they know. So this polarization is black against white, it's young against old, it's vaccinated against non-vaccinated. Today it's pro-abortion, contra-abortion. That is what is happening today in this in-betweenness. But be assured, the new world is coming, and I would love to share with you 2 insights to create this better world, because this is what this conference is all about. The future, generations, and a better world. And I will give you 2 tips that all of you, each and every one of you, can start to practice because it's really, really simple. And the first one is, you guys, you have the power because you are the future. Who is born here in 1996 or afterwards? I've already saw some hands going up with the students before. There are some students there. Okay, Gen Z. Hi, welcome Gen Z. I love you all. I love you all. You know that for people in charge today, CEOs, managing directors, human resources directors, they find it very difficult to meet you because they have no clue what you want. They try and get you in with nice salaries and cars, and you always keep on saying no. Even millennials have that. That's a lot of you as well, no? The generation after, it's millennials. And why is it so different for companies to understand you? And this is a global study. 70% of Gen Z is involved in some social or political issue. You're a very value and belief-driven generation. And that is totally new to companies. They have no clue. I mean, the values used to be something that you hang on the wall, right? Who cared about values? Well, for you guys, it's very important. You're a generation, 63% of you say we want to buy and use brands who take a stance on social issues. The generation above, who's also here, the adults, only 49% say we really care about what a company does and what they care for. So we see that a new generation is coming, and it's you guys, and it's amazing. Use these superpowers because you can help shake the world and make it a better place. And how can you do that? Well, for instance, dare to say no. Simply dare to say no. When you go to a supermarket and you all shop, when you're in front of a shelf, don't buy the stuff that is wrapped in triple plastic. Don't buy vegetables or fruit that come from across the globe when it's not in season. Every day you make a vote with your money when you buy stuff. When you buy things online, don't shop in a very polluting, non-caring company like Shein. But you do shop with them, right? Because they are valued higher than H&M and Zara together. But think about that. When you take a dress or whatever, $5, but it comes by plane to the Netherlands. And it's been created by people that have only 1 day off a month. So think about that. You have an amazing opportunity, but also a responsibility. And of course, when you see somebody bullying, or when you see sexual harassment, or when you go to festivals, or you go and sit in the Vondelpark this afternoon, take your rubbish. I mean, don't be a twat. Take some responsibility, please, because it's necessary. But on a work level, and the younger generations have been here in job interviews, I mean, the world is yours, guys. The world is really yours. When somebody tells you about the war on talent, you tell them, listen, the war is over, talent has won, and talent is you. Because everybody today is hiring. All companies are hiring. And they will need to radically adapt to your wishes and to your needs if they want to keep you. It's really like that today. The power is in your hands. Now, what do companies do to adapt themselves? I have the podcast. It's called The Care Principles. It's a video podcast. It's on YouTube, but of course you can also listen to it on Spotify, on Apple. And I talk with company leaders. This is Thierry Heerts. He's the CEO of Google Belgium. And Google is one of these companies. You can say a lot of things that Google doesn't do right, but one of the things that they really do right, because they really need the brightest minds and the engineers, is taking good care of their employees. And one of the things that they do at Google, when you do a very demanding job, like for instance for 2 hours, you have to do something that is really taking a lot of your attention, the next 2 hours you can take free. You don't need to spend your days back against back in meetings. They really understand that for every effort, you can take a break. And that's just one of the many reasons why Google is an amazing employer. And they put all of their efforts online, so you can really steal the ideas from Google and see how you can take better care of your employees. And that's the tip for the bosses here in the room. So the question really is, do you want to remain part of the problem, or will you help and become part of the solution? And a personal tip for all of you, don't expect everything from others. Don't become a couch potato. Take up some responsibility, use your skills, and start acting to do something good yourself. Don't expect everything to come from your employer, from your friends, from your parents. Do something yourself. I see some smiles. Probably some people love to be a couch potato, right? And my second tip is don't focus on selling. Focus on solving. Growth is no longer an objective. And when you work for agencies and you work on digital campaigns, on websites, on applications, tell this when you receive a briefing. What are we solving? Are we just selling more stuff? Do we really need to sell more stuff? Or can we also solve something? A global study in 2019, so before the pandemic, already 81% of people worldwide said, I must be able to trust the brand to do what is right. And doing what is right, have a look, 76% of people base their decisions on ethical reasons. What's your brand integrity? What is your purpose? Not a marketing purpose, a real purpose. That is what matters today. Companies need to be outspoken about their culture, their value, and like I said before, not just hanging on the wall, but really, is it really living in your company? And about the societal impact you want to create. That is what matters. It's all about the positive impact your organization wants to make on people, on planet, and if possible, on both. So you have to solve societal issues on a deeper level. And an amazing example of that is a Dutch company called Zeeman. You probably all know them. Who has seen this campaign, Skeer? Okay, for the non-Dutchies in the room, Skeer means like cheap. And it was about, it wasn't a classical campaign, the black guy in the middle, it's a Rotterdam rapper, his name is Hef. And what they saw at Zeeman is that a lot of young people are putting their last money into very expensive clothing, brands, Gucci, Prada, and whatever. And this rapper, he made a song about it, that you don't need to earn self-esteem, that you don't need to feel better by putting all your money in clothes. The campaign was a huge success. You see here the numbers. There was a small capsule collection around it. It was solved in no time. But more important, more than 2 million downloads of the song, over 21 million earned media contacts. It was all over the news, on TV, on the radio, in podcasts. Everybody was talking about that campaign that let young people think, do I really need to spend all my money on expensive brands? So I would urge you, because you guys are working in the digital scene, bring sustainability into the core of everything you do. If it's an idea, if it's a business model, if it's a solution or an app, see how you can do that. And this is an example, I don't know who knows Forest. It's a Chinese app. Not everything that comes out of China is bad. And it's an app to get you concentrated. So for instance, when you study or when you're doing a difficult task, when you don't touch your phone, because you know we are all addicted and we're always looking, is there an update, is somebody telling me something, is somebody chatting with me? When you leave your phone, you grow a digital forest. And so the more you don't touch the phone, the more digital forests they have. So, but what is great about this app, it doesn't only make you focus, so it really helps youngsters to focus, but they also grow trees in Africa. They partner, they collaborate with an organization. So my personal tip for you is use your skills, and see how you can use all of your talent to really create positive impact. Would you care for more? Well, there's more to it, but I don't have much time to talk about it. The CARE principles, it's a strategic framework that helps you grow, but in a caring and a sustainable way. It's really introduced in the core of your business strategy. It's not about doing a little bit on the side. It's not like, oh, let's do some charity. Oh, let's do a little bit of sustainability. No, you really have to be serious about it and bring it into the core. And as you can see, it has impact on people. It's all about your impact strategy, the impact you have on people and on planet. It starts internally with taking better care of your own employees, your own people. But of course, this model goes beyond that, and it's also about your clients. But there's more to it. Within the word care, there are 4 shifts that anybody can make. C stands for collaboration. We will all have to collaborate if we want to face the challenges. The A stands for agility. We will all have to be more flexible and more adaptive. The R stands for reliability. We used to create reliable brands based on advertising. Those days are over. Reliability today is really something that starts internally. And the E stands for empathy. We will truly have to listen and be open up to others, because many of us, they simply can't follow anymore. And like I said, the model starts internally by taking better care of your employees, but it doesn't stop there. It goes from clients, stakeholders, and of course, the care for the planet. So I'm curious, does your brand care, and do you care? I'm open for questions. Thank you very much.
Well done. It's very solid. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
A lot of questions from the audience. Not everything that comes out of China is bad.
I've just written a big article on Shein, which is a non-caring company, but I still decided to write about it because they're amazing in agility and they're amazing digital services for their clients,
right.
Really catering also the emotional needs. Yeah, no, not everything that is coming out of China is bad.
All right. Another question is, how can you prevent your company, or perhaps your board of directors, from greenwashing? So saying you care, but in the meantime not caring at all.
We have to stop that. I mean, come on, guys, those days are over. We all know that if you're greenwashing, your people internally, your employees, they know, and they talk about it. So there's no use. I mean, forget campaigning and greenwashing, forget that. It's a waste of money. Somebody will find out, somebody will tell somebody else, and you're screwed.
And then Simon van Leeuw says, how can we make sure that the activist mentality that you talk about gets used for the right causes and not turn to more unnecessary division than is now the case? How do you know what's right?
It's a good question. I think we all have an ethical barometer that we all have to define for ourselves, and that will be different from person to person. We all have to fight for what we care, and that will be different for everybody. And as a company, you have to define it on a company level. What are the items you want to fight for?
So that's top-down.
The CARE principles is really top-down, but I specifically given these personal tips because, frankly, when you work for a company, even as a junior position, you can do certain things, and you can question, for instance, like I said, the briefings you receive. Don't just take no for an answer. Go against it and fight briefings, fight clients, and make the change that you want to see in the world.
Cool. A question from Danny. Danny Brugman says, is Generation X lost?
No, not at all. Not at all. Every generation has its pros and its contras. No, they are not lost at all, but they have to open up for the many changes in society. And it's true that there's many changes, and the changes go faster and faster, and a lot of people are losing track of it. But I'm very optimistic, and I'm sure that if you're open for change, everything is possible, and nobody has to be lost.
Oh, sounds very good. Isabel, thank you so much. Isabel Verstraete.